Hey everyone, welcome back to Sasser House. In today's video, we are making these super easy DIY record holders. We have absolutely loved using our vinyl records as decor in our home, and this is a super easy and beginner-friendly project that anyone can do. You can do this project in less than 3 hours with only $5 worth of lumber. I'll put all of the details and what you need down in the description below, but in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to make it. The first thing that you need for this project is 2 of the 1x3x8 furring strip boards from your Home Depot or Lowe's. These are like the cheapest boards that you can possibly get, and they're only like $2.50 a piece. You need 2 of those, and go ahead and rip those down on your table saw or with a skill saw down to 2.5 inches wide for both of those. Next, go ahead and put your board next to the saw blade on the table saw and lower that blade depth down to where your next pass over the table saw will not cut all the way through the board. You only want to go about halfway into the board. Next, move your table saw fence to where you're cutting a 1/2 inch away from the outside of one of those boards and cut a long groove down the entire length of the board. It should look something like this after you're done. It's basically just a groove going down the entire length of the board, but now you're going to step over your fence a little bit more, just a saw blade, and go ahead and repeat that exact same step. So I move over the fence, then line it up and make sure that we're going to cut and make that groove a little bit wider, and then we run it down the saw again. We're going to repeat that step one more time just to make sure that that groove is wide enough for the base of the record or the base of the vinyl to actually sit down in the groove. So it should look something like this after you get it done. It is not as hard as it looks. You're basically just running it down the table saw multiple times, slightly moving it over each time to make the groove wider. The next step is to cut these down. So you only did that groove on one of your 1x2.5 inch boards now, and the other one is still left solid. Go ahead and stack those boards on top of each other if you have a miter saw. Measure out 6 inches and cut. You're going to repeat this step every 6 inches, and you should get 15 of these out of your 2 1x3 boards that you started with. I went ahead and put a block on my miter saw at 6 inches. That way I didn't have to do any measuring. I just slid my 2 boards over to that block and then made a perfect cut at 6 inches every time. You can totally use this if you have a miter saw, or you can just hand cut these with either a skill saw or a jigsaw as well. Whatever you need to do to get these cut. The next step is to sand everything down so it's smooth to the touch. I'm using my Ryobi orbital sander with 180 grit sandpaper, but this is totally not necessary because this is wall decor. People are not going to be touching and handling these very often, but I would recommend doing it. It will make your product look nicer. And now it's time to bring them inside and line them all up for some stain or paint. I'm going to use minwax Early American stain, and I'm just wiping it on with an old t-shirt rag. I love the look of stain, and it's going to match the room that we're putting these in, but you can totally stain these or paint these any color of your choice. I would say just go ahead and try to do both sides if possible. That's a little easier with stain than it is with paint, but the next step, if after sanding, is to paint or stain any color that you choose. And then next, we're going to follow up this step after it dries with a top coat. I'm going to use varathane, which is a water-based top coat in the finish Satin. And I love this stuff, and I'm just going to brush it on. They also have this in a spray can, which would go a little faster. And again, this step probably is totally just optional because you're not actually handling these very often. It's going to be on your wall. After it gets dry, then go ahead and nail it all together. So you're going to take one of the boards that has the groove cut in it and one of the boards that does not have the groove, line them up in an L shape and shoot nails down into one side. I'm using my Ryobi nail gun with 1.5 inch nails, and this is plenty strong enough to hold these together and to hold up a vinyl record on the wall. So I get those all shot together, and this is what they should look like when you're done. And again, you should have 15 of these vinyl record holders for only $5 off of those 2 boards. Now, when it comes to installing these on the wall, the first thing that I do is take actual vinyl records and use those as spacing guides so I know exactly where I want to put each of the brackets. Then you could use the little picture frame mounts that you could put on the back of each of these and mount them that way, but I actually just put a long screw straight through the middle of each bracket. If I don't hit a stud, I go ahead and pull it back out, put a wall anchor in the wall, and then put the screw back in. And this is what that looks like. It's going to get covered up by the vinyl itself. And here is your finished results. It looks so good. This was such a fun project to do. Decorate it with your favorite vinyl records and enjoy. All right, and that is the finished product. These were so fun and easy to make. It literally took like 3 or 4 hours from start to finish, and that was to make 15 of them. And like I said, they were so cheap. It only took 2 of those boards, and this was a really simple, easy project. I think these would make great gifts for family members for Christmas or birthdays. Anyone who loves music would love to display records like this in their home or their office. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and hopefully you'll give these a try because this was a super fun project. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We've got lots more DIY projects coming up real soon. Thank you guys. Bye y'all.